Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Grossbull and welcome to the JesseAFShow. Today is Saturday, March 23rd, 2019, episode 41 of my daily podcast. Yeah, that's right, daily. That means every single day I'll be posting a new episode, so please check in tomorrow for my next episode. I'm on Google Play Music, Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and YouTube. So if you have any of those platforms, please consider subscribing. That way you get notifications for whenever I post a new episode. Today I'm going to be talking about cleaning up. And cleaning up means a little bit more than just shaving my face. Cleaning up is something that we have to do because I know I have to really focus on cleaning up in a lot of different aspects, just mostly because my creative mind kind of gets all over the place sometimes, and when your creative mind goes all over the place, you kind of start coming up with all these different ideas, all these different crazy things that are going on. And you just have to kind of take a step back and look at your situation and look at what's working and look at what's not working. And it's so important to do that because when you clean up your act, when you clean up your mind, when you clean up what you're doing, then you get more professional at what you're doing. Then you look less as a newbie, and you get to be more of an actual professional. And being a professional is very important, especially when you really don't know, well, when you're not really exactly big into the game already. So when you're really starting out with something, you have to try and make yourself more professional, right? Everyone has to go through that. Everyone has to go through the time period where they're like, okay, what do I need to do to make myself more professional? It's like in art, in drawing. To make myself more professional in drawing, I have to draw everything. But at the same time, I have to take a step back and I have to focus on refining details. I have to focus on refining skills. Maybe I have to work on drawing an eye even more detailed than I usually draw. Or maybe I have to focus on the facial features of someone instead of just their physical form of their whole body. And you really have to look at that. And it's like refining those little things seems really, really simple, but when you get into it, it's like you're looking at it for a whole different reason. And when you look at it for that completely different reason, that's where the professionality comes in. That's where you really become more unique and more refined, and it's almost like drinking tea. Maybe for a while you just drank tea normally and it was like, it's just tea. Put some honey in there, maybe a little bit of sugar, who knows, whatever your thing is. And you just always just drank tea. And you didn't really focus on the taste you got from it. Sure, you enjoyed the taste, but it wasn't really the exact focus of drinking the tea. And maybe one day you watch a video and you're like, I really like how they explained the tea and how maybe it sounded a little bit more professional of how they talked about the tea. Like, if you really taste it, does the taste go away fast? Does it stay in your mouth? And all that stuff. And you really have to look at it like, maybe I should be looking at my tea with more depth. And then you look at your tea with more depth and you're like, you take in the full body of the smell, you sip your tea and you breathe in the tea as you sip it, and you're really trying to pull the accent flavors out, and maybe you're not finding those flavors. Maybe you're not actually tasting that tea. Maybe it's just dying off in the smell. And that really goes into the whole idea of just being more professional. And I'm doing that basic same thing with this podcast. I now have a microphone, but in the beginning, I just had my phone. And in the beginning, I just recorded using my phone. I used the camera on my phone, and now I'm actually using my DSLR. And that really goes into it. And it's like, what can I do next to refine my podcast to be more professional? Maybe I should change my environment that I'm in. Maybe I should change what the background is. I know today I'm parked at a different location than I usually park, and I like switching it up a little bit. The other video that I did yesterday, I was in a busy parking lot, and there were buses driving around in the background. Those are the buses I actually drive, the bus company that I drive for. And a lot was going on, so it could have been more distracting to watch all that stuff going on while I was talking in the foreground of the composition. So it takes a lot of testing of things. And when you finally get something, when you finally get somewhere with your work, it really starts taking on a form of its own, and you're really developing your style almost. It's like drawing. You know, you have to draw enough to know how to draw. But then you also have to look at your drawing habits and be like, what kind of an artist am I? Am I a professionalist? Am I, a realist? Am I a abstract, or am I an abstract? Trying to speak grammatically okay or correct, and you really have to look at that. Do I enjoy drawing more architectural drawings, or do I like drawing more organic drawings? And those are questions you have to ask yourself. You can't just try and draw everything. And that goes into the whole idea of just mastering or being a professional at your craft in general. And what I mean by that is, so many people say, yeah, I can draw that. I can draw that too. I can also draw that. And those 4 different things could be completely different. And maybe you don't exactly feel 100 in on that one thing, or 3 of those, and you really love just drawing one of those things. And that's the point. You can do anything you set your mind to, but it depends on what you really feel passionate about. And that's refining your skills. That's cleaning up your act. Same with photography. So you could be like, yeah, I'll photograph anything. I'll photograph anything that you want. Maybe that's what you will say in your beginning, when you're actually just trying out photography, when you're trying to be a professional photographer. And then you get into the whole idea of, but what do you professionalize in? And that's where the question really stumps you. It's like, well, I'm really good at drawing or taking pictures of everything, so I professionalize in everything. That doesn't happen. You cannot professionalize in every type of photography. There's so many different kinds of photography out there. There's landscape, portrait, family, children, couples. There's architectural. There's landscape photography. There's so many different kinds of photography, and you don't know how to photograph every single one of those. And that's the point. You have to really focus on refining your skills of photographing that specific subject. That way you get more professional at what you do. And it kind of gets to the point with me where I am a jack of all trades, but at the same time I have to take a step back and I have to be like, look, I know I can do anything if I set my mind to it, but the only way I'm ever going to make any real money doing what I'm doing is if I professionalize, if I perfect my craft. I can photograph anything. Anybody can photograph anything. But it takes a real professional, a real master of his craft to be able to perfect and photograph something so beautiful that the composition is right, the face is right, the environment is correct, the pose is correct, the eyes and how they look into the camera, how the facial expression goes. And it really takes a professional to understand that and to understand what goes into that. Maybe the lighting has to be different. Maybe the coloring has to be different. Maybe the whole feel of the photograph in general has to be different. And that's the point. You can be a professional at anything, but you have to get better at one specific thing to do that. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know I did. And if you really did enjoy this episode, please comment, like, share, anything. And show people you like, or people that are trying to master their craft, this episode. I think they'll really enjoy it. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.